theme today on the radio show, Anthony.
What's that?
Things we wouldn't have if we weren't syndicated.
Right.
What about all the hot pieces of asses that we got to check out from all over the country during our Naughty Nighty contest?
Yes.
Allan Sniffen, you douchebag.
What a dick.
You douche. Jay, what's going on?
He is such a tool.
Well, now, see, but for our syndication audience, see, Opie, this is what's going to ruin the show. Having to explain to the other cities what this is all about.
Bad dentist.
The rock and roll radio dentist, Allan Sniffen.
Yeah, when does he have time to fill cavities, man?
I don't know.
I got a tooth rotting away, and I'm waiting for an appointment.
Jesus, maybe you ought to find another dentist.
My dentist isn't spending all his time talking about radio.
One that's not making up his own radio show on the internet every
Allan,
week or
how
so.
bad do you want to be doing exactly what Ant and I are doing?
Very, very badly.
You don't sound too jealous, you douchebag.
Very badly. But he's, you gotta pay the rent, so he's got to go in there and fill some molars.
Why don't you explain Allan Sniffen to the rest of the country, Anthony?
Well, the internet, Opie, is just tons of message boards. Everywhere you turn, there's a message board about something. Allan Sniffen runs a message board. It's called the New York Radio Message Board. And, it's about New York radio. With a lot to do about WABC music radio here in New York. It was music radio back in, I think, 1894.
I guess he was a big fan of WABC.
Big fan of that, so he's got a whole website dedicated to that. And
hell, I was a big fan of crockpots, too, but I had to move on, you ass.
Move on. And it seems a lot of people that frequent the New York Radio Message Board don't really, as far as I can see from reading a lot of the posts, they don't really understand radio. They really don't.
Well, you think if you ran a message board that talked about New York radio, it would be run by someone that maybe had some experience in the field?
He'll tell you he had experience, Opie.
In what way?
I don't know. He did a little radio show.
It's like you and I starting a message board about dentistry.
Dentistry, yes.
And giving our opinions on dentistry.
The New York Dentistry Message Board.
And how, we wish the dentists were doing it the old school way.
Right. How does this newfangled equipment...
Even though they're now filling cavities with that white stuff.
I like the old lead stuff myself.
Oh, no.
I like the mercury.
No, we've moved on, my friend. The white is much better than the silver.
How do you know? You're not a dentist.
Hey. I'm going to start a message board. That's all you need.
Exactly.
Then I officially become an expert.
Well, Opie...
this guy is such a tool. And he's going to think that he got under our skin and stuff. The guy
enjoy talking about this.
The guy has wished for our failure ever since we stepped into New York to do radio.
And the cronies on that message board.
Remember when that message board said that you and I wouldn't last 3 months in New York radio?
I'd like to.
Oh, they're not. Yeah. Okay, they made it to 3 months. Well, they'll definitely not, make it past 6 months.
Yeah.
They've been doing this every 3 months. And then if we have a dip in the ratings, see, they're over.
Ah, boy, it's done.
They're done. Look, see, I told you so.
It's done.
And then next thing you know, our ratings go back up.
And they go away.
And they just
they just go away.
Like cockroaches when you turn the lights on. They just kind of hide.
Uh-huh.
And then they wait for that next time to pounce on us.
Yeah. See? I told you.
So now he's pouncing again. Even though we've been doing this for 4 years in New York and we've been quite successful.
Right.
They're just picking us apart and trying to come up with something.
Well, him and a lot of the people that frequent this board, it's, the usual suspects, the same cast of characters that have done nothing but trash this show on a daily basis.
Well, no one wants to see us. And no one wants to see us succeed.
No one wants it. And then once even they realized, all right, these guys are going to be around a while, then, like you said, they just pick their little shots and try to take them. The latest thing, or the thing that Allan Sniffen does every week with this message board, he records in real audio his board reflections. It's a little weekly thing that you can download and listen to Allan Sniffen do his little, almost an internet radio show about New York radio. Picks various subjects that have been popular on the board that week and runs with them.
He does this instead of taking care of his patients.
There's somebody sitting back there going, oh. Dr. Sniffen, can you come in here? The Novocaine's wearing off. I'll be in a minute. I got to record my bored reflections. Wait a minute. Just hold the cotton in your mouth till you choke. I got to do bored reflections.
He's a psychopath. I'm going to get a restraining order tomorrow. The guy is out of his effing mind, man.
So the recent one that he taped, I guess today.
By the way, there was a big discussion. I hate to interrupt, but you know how we do this, and now we're going back a little bit. There was a big discussion on the board earlier this week because you and I played a tape segment of Jim Brewer at 6:30.
Right.
And they're bitching and complaining.
All kinds of speculation as to why we played it. Are we playing it because we're getting lazy?
Right.
Are we playing it because we got in trouble?
No, Alan.
Do we have something to do?
No, Alan. The reason we played it was because I had to take a big, hairy dump. And I couldn't wait any longer. Is it okay with you, you idiot?
Sometimes you get a little diarrhea.
Sometimes you could kind of hold it in till the end of the show, but you know what? I felt like, could get a little messy in here. You know
hurting.
What? We got this really good Brewer bit. We'll play that. I could go do my thing. You ass.
There you go. Questions answered.
Know why we did it? Because we can. It's our show. We'll do whatever the F we want, you douche.
Well, he recorded a board reflections, Opie, like he does every week. And one of the subjects is O&A and their syndication. And he kind of does it in a way where he pits us against another local radio host here in New York City that has recently been syndicated. And he decides who is doing better as far as they're being syndicated.
Right.
And the overall picture.
Right.
We will, you will hear this, and you will laugh along. And one thing that...
Can I interrupt you, Ant?
I had a question.
Are these all real subjects? Okay.
Really?
Just so everyone is on the same page and realizes how ridiculous this message board is and how dweeby these guys are.
You got some subjects of some topics?
These are other New York Radio Board topics in recent days, right? Yeah. This is just in the last couple weeks, okay?
Right.
These people need to get a life. They discussed This Week in 1988.
This Week in 1988
was one of their topics.
All right. Maybe something was going on that week.
They also discussed at length FCC ownership limits.
No, that was a hot topic.
Basically, that means should a company be allowed to own 8 stations in one city or 9?
Stop! Wow, my heart just started racing it when you said it.
Another topic they've been discussing, WNBC at 75.
No, it's not. It was 66.
Huh? No, 75 years.
Oh, see, I thought you were discussing the frequency.
Their 75th anniversary, Anthony.
Wow.
Big discussion on Scott Muni Wednesdays.
Yeah. Yeah, I listen to Scott's on the way in between my traffic on 1010 wins.
They also discussed at length the Soda Wars.
Soda Wars? Isn't that the episode before the Clone Wars of Star Wars? Which one was the Soda Wars? Boba Fett, right? He gets soda. I can't remember. Don't have something to do with...
Hey, guys, I hate to tell you this, but I think you need to go get laid. Also, a discussion on Mets public announcer for 2002.
Oh, really?
Ugh. This Week in 1967, WNEW-FM, all-female lineup. Discuss.
Discuss. Comment. Discuss.
Does anyone... There's another topic. Does anyone have tapes of Jammin' Oldies? This was an exclusive topic right here, Ant. Exclusive WABC cuts. New jingles.
New jingles.
Memories of WRVR. Dude, I've been doing radio for half my life now. I couldn't even tell you what WRVR was. And now they'll write on the board, care. Didn't make an impression in my life. And then finally, WNYC-FM and AM schedules are online now.
Former WEVD PD has new job.
That's a really good one. Who cares? And then, no one's so pathetic. He's just as pathetic as Bill Riley and all these other tools.
Bill O'Reilly.
That try to trash our radio show, Ant. Yeah. You know, they say, you know, there's no spin and stuff like that, but they all have an agenda.
Yeah.
Our listeners have tried to get on that message board, and just about all of them get banned from the message board.
They get kicked off, yeah.
They get kicked off.
Yeah, they don't allow...
Because Allan Sniffen really doesn't care what you guys have to say.
Yeah.
So anyway, you want to play some of this board reflection?
Well, I was going somewhere, and I got to kind of remember how I was going with this. The thing, like I said, that he recorded this week is about us, syndication, and this other local radio personality here in New York that syndicated, Hannity,
yeah,
Sean Hannity. And who is faring best in the overall picture as far as syndication goes?
Here's another...
I guess all it is, as far as Allan is concerned, is how he feels syndication is going for both shows. How his impression, because he bases it not one bit on fact. On give me a Sean Hannity success story in another market. Do I believe Sean Hannity will be successful in other markets? Sure. The guy does the type of radio he does very well. You know? Will he be successful in other markets? Sure. But give me one right now. Allan has decided right now he is going to make some kind of decision on who's doing better. We have some success stories there, Allan. We have been syndicated. A lot of people on your very message board said it wouldn't work. Said the Opie and Anthony show, oh, well, okay, we're giving in to the fact that they're here in New York and it's working, but they'll never work in syndication. Well, we have multiple success stories in syndication.
Philly, Boston,
yep,
Cleveland,
and
Buffalo.
I'm going to say it, too. Friggin' Washington.
And Washington showing some success.
You watched the book in Washington, as opposed to our numbers when everybody fled afternoons when we showed up in Washington. Those are success stories. They're numbers. They're written down somewhere as record, not a dentist's opinion of whose program is doing better as far as being syndicated. So we'll play and laugh along and stop the tape if we want to comment on Allan.
I want to thank Allan for giving us 20 minutes.
Giving us our first break. Thank you, Allan. Really, we didn't know what we were going to do today.
Now get back to filling cavities.
Yeah. Take an X-ray.
And scraping old ladies' teeth.
Could you take the next 1,500 X-rays without that lead suit you got to wear?
All right, ready? And he has a jingle and everything proving this guy so badly.
He puts this
wants
together.
To be doing what you and I are doing instead of, scraping teeth.
All right,
dentist's office somewhere.
Picture this, and I sure hope you all saw The King of Comedy. Remember how Rupert Pupkin in his basement had a talk show set up?
Of course.
So he can come in, and he was making tapes down in his basement with the applause and sound effects, and he'd talk on it, and he'd be yelling, "Ma! I'm trying to do something down here, Ma! Rupert, what are you doing? Ma! Ma!" That is exactly how I picture Allan doing his board reflections. Down there, he's got his effects. Okay, I got to get the jingle. I'll get the jingle, I'll hit it, and then I'll come in, hey! With a bunch of energy like the good old days of music radio.
Here we go.
Hi, everybody. It's Allan Sniffen, and it's time. Are you ready?
Here's Allan Sniffen with Board Reflections.
Hi.
Board Reflections for April 4, 2002.
Music Radio77.com. Go, go.
That's right. It's time for Board Reflections, where I make comments about comments being made to the New York radio message board, the mecca of all internet radio message boards.
Yeah.
Well, it's the tale of two recently syndicated shows. On the one hand, you've got Opie and Anthony, and on the other hand, you have Sean Hannity. One program is syndicated as an FM extreme talk show. The other is being syndicated as a conservative issues-oriented talk show.
I just want to step in for 1 second and say, please remember, everybody, this is a dentist. This is a dentist talking, okay? That's all. I just want to remind people of.
Not some old legendary program director that has seen people come and go.
It's a dentist.
The dentist. That does root canals.
A dentist.
Which one is succeeding and which one is not? Well, I think you can make an argument that both are succeeding. I mean, after all, neither of which is falling off the cliff, so you can't really say that either one is failing. So maybe the better question is, which one is succeeding more effectively than the other? Which is the better program as far as its listeners are concerned? And you know what? You gotta put the finger on Sean Hannity as the more successful program right now, and you've got to say that Opie and Anthony's show has suffered since it became syndicated.
Wrong. Try again, jackass.
Has suffered since we've been syndicated.
That's why the underlying theme will be, what has syndication done for this radio show?
What has syndication done for this show? Would you say the show has changed or evolved from when we first got here?
Oh, yeah.
I'll say absolutely. I think we're doing a better show now than we were. I absolutely believe that. Is it different? And this is a guy that I swear to you, I wish I could pull up, and maybe you can. I don't know how far back the records go on this message board, but this is the guy that's saying our show isn't as good now as it was. Based on what? The message board used to call us juvenile drivel that wouldn't last. The show is horrid, horrific, no structure, nothing. Whatever it was, there was always a complaint 2 years ago about this show.
There they go. Hey, there's a new topic on the New York radio message board. The new topic is, I drink beer till I pass out. I drink beer till I pass out. Discuss.
Well, they found, a couple of the people have found the board.
And another topic, O&A suck, and the first post, banana juice. All right. Want to move on here?
Now, I know many of you who are Opie and Anthony fans don't want to hear that, but you've got to concede that this show today, that is Opie and Anthony, is not as good as it was a year ago. And that point is being made in places other than the New York radio message board.
Oh,
and
oh yeah? Where, Alan? Where?
Where's that?
Where's your sources? Where, Alan?
Where's that this show...
Other people are saying that. Like where, Alan?
Isn't as good as
where are they
as
saying
it was
that?
A year ago.
New York Post, Daily News. Where are they saying that, Alan?
Where is that?
Where's your proof?
And I hate to be the one that says I told you so.
Oh, no, you don't.
But the fact is, I did tell you so.
Can someone make up a montage?
A year ago. Be careful what you ask for, because you may get it.
Can someone make up a montage of every time Alan has said, I told you so.
I told you so.
I told you so. It was me on the New York radio message board that told you all that this was going to happen. Spit, please. Could you rinse? There we go. I was there telling you that this would happen. Bite down. Bite down. Okay. I am the one. Please.
And the truth is that syndicating a show rarely helps the local show. The best you can say is it hasn't hurt the local show, but it rarely helps the local show, and frequently it hurts the local show.
Some guys
in the case of
on
Opie and
sweet
Anthony,
air.
I think you can argue that since it became syndicated, the show is not as good in New York.
Now he's going to give some examples.
All right.
This is going to drive our faithful listeners nuts.
Dan from Hoboken said, Alan is right. The show today is worse because I have to listen to Allan Sniffen.
Now, maybe people in Boston, and maybe people in Philadelphia, and maybe people in other markets think it's a terrific show, but compared to what it was here a year or 2 years ago, it's not as good for what Opie and Anthony try to do in terms of radio, which is generate a lot of buzz, generate publicity, do outlandish stuff, get people to talk about them. That's what they were doing unbelievably well a year, 2 years, even 3 years ago. A really good job of that.
Alan, you douchebag. In the last week, we were on MTV, VH1, and Bill O'Reilly's huge special on Fox about corrupting the youth of America. You ass.
Daily News
They're
and the Post
facts.
here in New York multiple times over the past few weeks.
We're in the Daily News today again. You idiot.
And Alan, at any time, I swear to you, at any time, we can go outside of this studio, write the C word on a sign, and hold it in front of a live remote. We've done that already. We do other things. We move on, and as I've said in the past, the show evolves. It moves on. We get new characters in. Some of the old characters fade away. It's a constantly evolving program. And are there people out there that would say, are there New Yorkers out there that would listen to the show and say, yeah, I don't like it as much as I did a year ago, 2 years ago? Sure.
Of course.
They're going to say that regardless of syndication or anything.
And I don't care if he says it, but get your facts right.
It's the nature of the beast. That's what happens. But on the other hand, there are plenty of people that would say, I listened to the show then, I listen to it now, I kind of like it now. We're more comfortable with the talk format that we hadn't done prior.
We never did a talk show before this.
And that's why I'm saying I truly I like what we're doing now better than I do what we were doing a couple of years back.
But to say that we're not generating any buzz.
Yeah, I know. That made no sense.
Alan, in the last week, we've created a major buzz. We're the talk of the whole music industry today.
A lot of people
just
angry.
losing their minds because of what we did with the corn thing. It made MTV. It made VH1.
Mm-hmm.
It's now on. It's all over the internet now. The story's going everywhere. We debuted 5 tracks from the new Korn CD. That was a really big deal.
Yeah.
They were able to single-handedly keep WNEW going when the rest of the station was in the dumper, which it still pretty much is.
Well, yeah, we'll give you that one.
All right, wait a minute, Alan.
All right, Bang.
We'll be fair.
All right, you got one.
I like that.
Place still blows real bad here in New York.
Rinse.
Very good. We'll give you that one.
But now, their one successful show is not as good as it used to be.
In whose opinion?
Alan, we're still #1 in all the demos that matter, you idiot. If you're going to be, quote, an expert, why don't you use some facts? It's all for public knowledge. We were hired to be #1, men 18 to 49. We've been #1 for, I can't even tell you how many books in a row, Alan.
It goes up, it goes down, but the ranking always stays the same.
We're still #1. Before we came to New York, Mike and the Mad Dog were the top dogs in afternoon radio. No one even talks about them anymore. They stink. And no one has been able to knock us off, the top of the hill here. And we're #1 in a million other demos, but I'm not going to bore you with that. The one that really matters is 18 to 49.
Rob from Jersey says the way syndication has helped the O&A show.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do this all day today, yeah.
#1, Allan Sniffen exposed as a complete douchebag in 18 cities now. Yes.
And you want to blame it on something? You can blame it on syndication. Now, they're going to argue, oh, no, not true. September 11th had a lot to do with it. And you know what? I can't totally argue that point. There is some truth to that. September 11th certainly did hurt shows like Opie and Anthony. At the same time, it did help shows like Sean Hannity. After all, you got an overriding current event that has got everybody's attention. A program that focuses on that is likely going to do better. So, yeah, there's some truth to that.
Duh. Alan, no one wanted to laugh after September 11th.
You know,
we were put in a position where we had to do very serious radio, and I'm pretty proud of ourselves. I think we did a really good job. But for a long time, people really weren't into this type of radio.
People's listening habits changed drastically after the 11th.
Another thing you could prove by just looking at the ratings, Alan.
Look at the ratings like people in radio, not in dentistry. Look at the ratings. You'll see after September 11th,
news stations went through the roof.
News stations went insane. News-oriented talk, like Sean Hannity, insane ratings, through the roof. Spike you could see by looking at it. It was September 11th, bam, spike. And then, you know what happens? It doesn't, after a week or two, spike back down to where it was. If you look at the ratings, you'll see it. It's a gradual drop-off to a normal ratings like we had before the 11th.
Gradually go back to what they were doing before.
They gradually go back to their listening habits.
Alan, if you bother to do your homework, in the last ratings trend that just came out only 2 weeks ago, we're kicking Sean Hannity's ass again.
Right.
You idiot.
So look at that. Look at the fact that
Because
We're
of
now
9/11
beating, Hannity.
Because of 9/11, Sean Hannity for the first time beat us in the ratings.
Right.
And we weren't too happy about it, but there was really nothing we could do.
What are you going to do?
People wanted to talk about 9/11. I understand that, you know. But the last trend, Alan, that just came out, guess what? It's going back to where it was pre-9/11.
Yeah, it doesn't all of a sudden turn back to what it was before 9/11.
But still, here we are now. We're more than 6 months since September 11th, and listening patterns are returning to normal in that radio stations that appeal to adult music listeners have been picking up in ratings recently, which implies that the adult audience that flipped over to news stations and to talk stations is now moving back to where they used to be prior to September 11th. So do you think Opie and Anthony are doing as well as they were prior to September 11th? I don't think so. I don't think their show was as good as it used to be. I think they got too many people on there that don't belong on the show. The best part of Opie and Anthony is when the two of them are on dealing with the callers or dealing with each other. I don't think they need Jim Norton in the studio.
Allan.
You don't appreciate Jim Norton's
You
humor?
hurt Jimmy's feelings.
Too bad Jim's not here yet.
Damn.
Jim Norton has helped this show tremendously.
We love Jimmy. He's just kind of one of the guys now that hangs out. It's not the Opie, Anthony, Jim Norton show.
Yeah,
we like having him around.
Yeah, he's not helping the radio show. He's only sold out shows in every city we're syndicated to, practically.
Yeah.
Or at least the ones he's has decided to go into.
Yeah, quite frankly, no one really knew who Jim was or us in these cities before we got there.
Jim told me in Philadelphia, he goes, if I wasn't on the radio show, I wouldn't even be selling out the local comedy club that seats 75 people. Mm-hmm. Instead, in Philly, he did 5 sold-out shows at the TLA.
Yeah.
That's proof that not only is he a very funny guy and a really good comedian, that the show has a little heat, a little power, Alan.
I'm seeing now they're deleting some of the posts on the message board. So some poor son of a bitch is sitting there in the dentist chair waiting for a film, and Alan's like, I'll be right back. I gotta edit my message board.
And Alan, stop listening to this. You got patients to take care of, you idiot.
I don't think Jim Brewer brings anything to the table. I don't.
All right, keep going.
Is this guy insane? Is he insane?
He doesn't think Brewer or...
all right, hold on. I'm going to go back, though.
Okay.
The guy's insane.
Because I got a point to bring up on this line. This contradiction.
Brewer is, I would say, the only comedian we've had on the show that has never had a bad appearance.
No.
Every single time he's been on our show, he's killed.
Yep.
The best part of Opie and Anthony is when the two of them are on dealing with the callers or dealing with each other.
Yes,
I don't think they need Jim Norton in the studio. I don't think Jim Brewer brings anything to the table. I don't think Jay Moore brings anything to the table.
All right. Can I call you out now for being for completely contradicting yourself? The show is better. Let me think. The show was better a year ago, 2 years ago, he says, when pretty much Jay Moore was in here on a daily basis.
Pretty much the listeners called it the Opie, Anthony, and Jay Moore show.
Jay Moore show. And Brewer made more appearances on our show back then than he does now. Unfortunately, we would love to have him on here more. So you're contradicting yourself. And Brewer classic stuff.
Brewer doesn't bring anything to the show. God, are you out of touch? Sorry to tell you, Alan, we're not going back to ABC Radio anytime soon.
Or standards.
With cute little jingles, and the jocks get to talk for 20 seconds.
Too much time on the phone with these guys, too much time in the studio, too much time for self-promotion, which is what the three of those guys seem to be mostly into, and not enough about the radio show itself. The show is not as good as it used to be. Now, it may also be true that there are other issues here, and some of those issues include syndicated stations maybe not wanting the show to be as close to the edge as it used to be.
Please. The syndicated markets have no say in the show.
we have to deal with dopey asswipe dump guy down the hall, but we've always had that problem.
When it was a WNEW only show, it may not be their fault. They may be doing what their affiliates want them to do, which is to be a less controversial show in order to keep the show on the air and not take advertisers off. All of those things may be true, but all of those things are a consequence of syndication. And all of you people who kept calling up on the phone and repeating after them, syndication now, I hope you're happy. Did you get what you wanted? Is this really working out for you?
Yes, it is. Syndication now. Yes, it is. If it wasn't for syndication, we wouldn't have Frenchie going at it with Tom from New Orleans.
Joy's saying, can I ask, who's he yelling at? Is this a way of making it seem right in his own twisted mind? Yeah, he does. He is yelling. Imagine, like, the sounds coming through the door where he's doing this. People walking by going, this is a dentist's office.
I thought he was going in there to look at x-rays.
He's going into the x-ray room. He's going to look at the x-ray. I'm waiting here in the seat to get my tooth filled, and I hear my dentist yelling at somebody in another room. Come on. He sounds like Lycus.
Do they do root canals on brains?
He's a pissed-off dentist.
It's working out well for them. They're making a lot of money here, so congratulations. Tip your hat. You got to give them credit. Heck.
I'm a lot of credit.
How do you know how much money we're making, Alan?
It was reported in the Daily News and Post.
Oh, we all know that's
$100 million. $100 million.
A lot of money being made on Opie and Anthony by the two people who are running the show. Good for them. I don't begrudge them 1 cent.
Begrudge. Don't begrudge me.
Yes, you do.
My criticism, however, is that as far as New York is concerned, as far as WNEW is concerned, this show is not as good as it used to be.
Based on...
Just like I told you it wouldn't be. This is what happens when you syndicate. Now, I'm not calling this show a total failure.
Thank you, Alan.
It won't succeed. And I'm not arguing that Infinity is going to give up on it, because I don't think they are, because they're making more money by syndicating the show than not syndicating the show. So from their point of view, it is a success. But in terms of you, the average New York radio listener, do you think the show is as good as it used to be?
Is that rhetorical, or are we supposed to answer it?
No, I'm going to answer. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yep. The answer is obvious. Now, the other show that got syndicated at about the same...
Want to keep going, or have you heard enough?
Well,
goes on for another 3.5 minutes.
He just goes on and on.
Was there something else in here?
I don't know.
Time and is doing much better, it seems to me, is Sean Hannity.
Much better.
And
based on... Give me a success story. Give me a success story about Sean Hannity and syndication. Like I said, I'll give the guy credit. I believe he absolutely will do well in syndication. But give me one right now. You're making your little speech here on it. You can't. This is your opinion. This is Alan's opinion.
Mac, what's going on?
It's Mark. By the way, I
sorry.
can picture that dude like yelling into an unconscious patient's mouth right now, and he's got it like pumping out through the speakers in the waiting room. Those are like his only listeners.
They'll come out of that little haze that you're in after you have the sweet air.
With the dental dam spread over your mouth.
Was he yelling at me?
Dry blood in his hair. Great.
Is he yelling at me?
Thank you, bro. Let's go to Tom. Tom, what's up? Tom.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
You guys are playing right into his hands. This guy wants exposure, and you're giving him exposure. He's a moron.
It's not good exposure, though. I don't care.
That's fine.
I love playing this stuff so you guys can hear what people think of this radio show. It's ridiculous and how they contradict themselves.
He can't get a radio show himself. You're giving it to him.
Well,
it's his opinion.
Yeah, I know.
Which, by the way, again, it's his opinion of our program. He doesn't think it's as good as it was. But the way the show was that he keeps talking about was better, and it's plainly and clearly his opinion, is a show that he didn't like, that he said was horrible, that him and his cronies on that same message board said wouldn't last, but it was an infantile, horrid program.
He and his cronies, they don't like anything current or new.
Right.
So even this show was better in the past. They like everything.
Everything has to be in the past. Even this show.
So he'll even discuss and say that we were better 5 minutes ago, as long as it wasn't current.
Right.
He's out of his mind.
And I think part of the reason for that, again, is because of September 11th, because he is an issues-oriented talk show host. He did pick up on a lot of people who were looking for discussion of the events of September 11th, and he got syndicated at the right time for people to be looking for that. That's just the way it worked out. So he has been a beneficiary of circumstances where Opie and Anthony have been a victim of it. So things do happen that are beyond the control of the people doing the programs. It's just the way it worked out. But the truth is...
That is a true point right there.
All right. Are we giving him that?
We are kind of victims.
He had 2 bells.
Well, we're okay with that.
We're fine with it.
We're back on track now.
Hannity is doing better. He's getting picked up on more stations.
All right, hold on. This is true, too, and the same thing happened to Bill O'Reilly, because it's safe programming.
Yeah.
Going into syndication, Ant and I knew we're an edgy show, constantly living on the edge.
Uphill battle.
You got to listen every day because you truly don't know what the hell's going to happen. Maybe we'll get fired, maybe whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it's a tougher show to sell, yes. Mm-hmm. So you don't get as many markets, but that's okay with Ant and I. We don't need a lot of markets.
Right.
Stations are adding him. He recently got added to WLS in Chicago. I think that starts next week. And they canceled Dr. Laura to do it, which, as far as I am concerned, is a terrific idea. Dr. Laura had to be one of the worst talk show hosts I ever heard. How she ever became as successful as she did was beyond me. She wasn't compelling. She wasn't interesting.
She wasn't a dentist.
That basically told everybody who called on the telephone to grow up. That was her whole shtick. One thing. Hey, you big baby, grow up. Stop bitching and moaning. Be a big person. Grow up. That was her whole thing. That's what she said to every single person who ever called that show.
Wow, he just made a lot of good points there, huh?
Brought his average up there.
It's getting neck and neck now between him and us, eh?
So it was amazing to me that it was successful as it was for as long as it was. But that being said, as far as Hannity is concerned, he is not a one-trick pony. He is talking most current events. He has managed to tap into the way...
And we're a one-trick pony, Alan?
I guess so.
Just like Bill O'Reilly, you scumbags.
And not as good.
It's so easy just to say there's a one-trick pony radio show. All they talk about is TNA. If you listen on a daily basis, you know that's not true, you idiot. But it's so easy just to say that. Just throw it out there like Bill O'Reilly said. Obviously, they only have one thing on their minds. As we're talking about boobs that day.
People feel around the country, at least for the time being, and he's doing well as a consequence of it. Hannity is doing better, relatively speaking, than Opie and Anthony in terms of picking up number of radio stations and picking up a prospective audience out there.
What? Alan, here, I'll teach you a little lesson today, okay? Sean Hannity will have a ton more stations in syndication than Anthony and I. Mm-hmm. We know that going into this. Because the business is filled with a bunch of pussies.
It's a lot easier.
A bunch of people that are scared of this type of programming and don't have the balls or the know-how to sell this type of programming.
It's
quite
safer.
Frankly, radio in general has become very homogenized and boring because you got general managers out there that would rather just sell very safe programming. Mm-hmm. We already know that.
But as far he goes, that he's more successful already.
No, he's not.
In getting an audience? Why? Give me a city besides New York where he's doing well. Give me a success story. Come on.
He does sound like Lycus.
Again, some of that is due to circumstances. He hit it at the right time, which was nobody's planning. It just worked out that way. But nevertheless, he's doing better. Now, in terms of WABC, do I think Hannity is as good as he used to be on WABC itself? No, I do not, frankly.
Whoa.
I think Hannity sounds better on WABC relative to the way he used to sound than Opie and Anthony do on WNEW relative to the way they used to sound.
Carry the X, and then you divide by what?
What kind of math
formula was that? He sounds better relative to who? What?
How he used to sound, then we sound better to when we used to sound.
More gooder. What?
So Sean Hannity is more gooder, but not as good as
relative
he used to be.
But relative to us, more gooder.
Sean Hannity more gooder than us now, but not as good as he used to be.
Just pull the tooth.
So, in other words, I don't think syndication has hurt Hannity's show anywhere near as much as it seems to have hurt Opie and Anthony's show. I don't think Hannity's doing as good a local show as he did when he was only on in New York. I mean, I don't know how you could ever think otherwise.
He's not doing as good of a show, Alan, because the 9/11 thing is not in front of everyone's faces anymore. That's why. You could put a monkey on the radio after 9/11, they would give you good radio, you dick.
If he were, it would be incredible for Hannity to be doing as well in terms of his New York audience as far as things he talks about. For him to do that, it would be a total turnoff to everybody else in the country. So he's got to keep the show more national in focus. Recently, that's been okay because that's where the big issues have been on a national level with September 11th. However, that being said, still, I think Hannity is more true to the way he sounded before syndication than Opie and Anthony are. So it's an interesting study in terms of radio syndication, a tale of two radio shows, which is succeeding and which is succeeding better, because I don't think either one are a failure, but I do think in terms of the New York audience that the difficulty, the onus, the hurting of syndication has been more dramatic on Opie and Anthony than on Sean Hannity. So, you know what? It's an interesting thing, but I'll tell you something. Nobody from a local audience should ever want their favorite show to get syndicated. It always hurts the local show. Again, I think Hannity's doing a pretty good job, and it hasn't made a big impact on him, but it's made some. But in terms of Opie and Anthony, come on, the show is not what it used to be. Careful what you ask for. You may actually get it.
All I asked for is a filling, and I've been sitting here for 3 hours. Opie, I got to thank Bobby from Queens, who went back in the radio message board archives and picked January 1st, 2000, Allan's predictions. You know where he always goes, I told you so. I don't want to tell you I told you so, but here it is.
He's always been wrong, by the way.
Here's his
in the end, he's always wrong.
Yeah, for NEW, the station here in New York. Here's his predictions. Opie and Anthony to mornings. Yes, I know this can hurt Stern, but I think Infinity needs to take a gamble here.
So he predicts you and I to mornings.
We were going to go to mornings. My guess is Stern won't be hurt at all that much, and WNEW will go up in the AM drive to around a 2.5. The station will then bring in a new person or team to PM drive.
So wait. So we go to mornings, and then some
new team comes in for afternoons. In the less competitive time of afternoons, it will give NEW a chance to develop another show with a real following, something it desperately needs to do. And mornings isn't the place to break new voices in. Mason and Kalinsky proved that much. Leica stays. The radio chick stays. The station will try to develop some weekend talk programming. Now, all this happens. None of this happens until a new PD is named soon.
All wrong. Not one thing right about this station, Alan.
I don't want to say I told you so, but I can't.
Right from your message board. Not one thing in here is true. Good job, Alan.
There you go.
Good job, Alan. Now get back to scraping old ladies' teeth.
Still a tooth.
Teeth. Wouldn't it be teeth? Yeah. All right,
here we go. Allan Sniffen's answer. Hey, O&A, your ratings are lower in New York than before syndication. Fact. That's all I need. That's all the support I need. But hey, nice to know my opinion is so important to you. Gotcha.
No, you didn't. We just made you look like a tool to 18 cities.
The truth hurts.
Alan, number one is still number one.
And the ratings have always with this show gone up and down, up and down.
Alan, number one is still number one. You idiot. Look at you. You're a dentist and you're listening to us today instead of taking care of your patients.
Is there a new Wesley Willis song? Rock and roll dentist, rock and roll dentist, rock and roll dentist, rock and roll dentist.